where to watch the World First race, and what we know about DPS performance, today on the Raid Cooldown. As of reset tonight, normal and heroic versions of the first Shadowlands raid, Castle Nathria, will be released. For those of you who'd like to bone up on strategies before diving in, I'm putting a link to the Fat Boss guides in the description below. Guilds will be doing their best to vacuum up as much loot as possible before competing the week after in the race to World First. Complexity Limit are the favourites to take the World First, given that they were the winners of the last tier and their roster is mostly the same. Echo is also looking competitive, raiding with most of the old Method crew. Pieces have also got their hat in the ring, and given the amount of streamers that their org has been picking up, they're probably going to have a pretty substantial presence on Twitch. OTK have also announced that they're going to be doing coverage of all the guilds who are streaming on Asmongold's channel. Let us know in the comments who you'll be watching and why. We've had some pre-raid sims go up on Simulation Craft a couple of days ago. Usual disclaimers here about sims, folks. They do not give an adequate picture of what DPS is going to be like in the raid for reasons that I'm going to try to explain here. The first thing to note here, folks, is that this is a patchwork sim, so you are able to stand still and do as much damage as you like to the target. Now, in this situation, Unholy DK is looking very strong on the top of the list, however it doesn't take into account the pretty punishing melee mechanics in Castle Nathria, so those playing the spec based off of this sim may be disappointed when they have to constantly run out of melee or die to those mechanics. Balanced druids are looking pretty strong indeed. This is probably one where the sim may be accurate in my opinion. They have uncapped AoE, crazy burst and single target damage, and pretty strong utility as well with their off heals and battle reses, etc. So balanced druids are looking like a fairly safe bet this raid tier. Shadow priests are also looking quite good, again being ranged with the right gear, particularly haste that they'll be picking up in normal and heroic week. I'd be predicting that Shadow Priests are going to climb up this list as the tier progresses. Sub-rogues, great in single target, woeful in any kind of cleave or AoE situation, and there's really only one or two fights where you have the opportunity to just DPS one target, so I don't think this sim is a very good reflection of that. Hunters are never not going to be good in raids, so I think that they're a pretty safe bet. I was surprised to see Affliction Lock so low on this list, but again, with all the multi-dotting fights and a week of normal and heroic under their belts, I think that they're going to end up higher on this list very soon when we see some of those raid logs come in on Warcraft logs. Really, the last thing I wanted to talk about with regards to this sim is the warrior situation. Both of their DPS specs are really rather low on this list, and warriors have always been quite dependent on gear, but I do really hope that Blizzard take another gander at their numbers. I don't even play warrior really, but it never feels good when both of your DPS specs are in this state on a patchwork sim right before the raid. Once again, folks, unless you're stepping into Mythic next week, any class will be perfectly viable at both normal and heroic. Moreover, there are those who play each of these classes well enough to be total outliers with regards to this data. It is interesting to look at, but don't let it be the reason to poo-poo your class choice or someone else's for that matter. That's your cooldown for this week, folks. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel so we can beat the algorithm boss. My name's Spit, and I'll see you next time.